Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Quick Commerce. Today we are going to continue with the economic factors. We have already covered 3 points under economic factors, that is natural resources, capital formation and human capital formation. Now we will be continuing with the remaining 3. If you haven't seen part 1 of the video in which we have discussed about the meaning of economic development and the concept of sustainable development, I will link that video in the I button as well as description box. I will even link the part 2 of this video in I button and description box if you haven't watched that also. Please watch both the parts before continuing with this video. So now let's get started with the video. So, in our last video, we have discussed about the first 3 economic factors affecting economic development. Those were natural resources, capital formation, and human capital formation. We discussed each point in detail. Let's revise them quickly and then we will continue with the other remaining factors. So, in natural resources, we discussed the meaning of that. That was, natural resources are those resources which exist without the interference of humankind. Then there were 3 groups of natural resources. Those were bioclimatic resources, fossil fuel and non-fuel mineral resources, and third was others. How does it affect the economic development? Countries categorized as underdeveloping or developing countries have lack of other factors, and hence they have to rely more on what they have, that is natural resources. Then we moved on to second factor, which was capital formation, in which we discussed the meaning of capital formation. So the process by which stock of capital in an economy is raised is known as the process of capital formation. Then there were 3 stages of capital formation. First stage was generation of savings, second stage was mobilization of savings, and third stage was investment. Then we discussed the role of capital formation in economic development, which had 3 points. First was that it determines the level of total income in the economy. Second was that it helps in structure of production, and the last was that it facilitates technological progress. So with this we completed the capital formation also. Then the last topic that we discussed in last video was human capital formation, in which first we saw the meaning of human capital. So human capital can be defined as the body of knowledge possessed by the population and the capacity of the population to use the knowledge effectively. Then we discussed how does it affect the economic development. Human capital is positively correlated to economic growth since investment trend to boost productivity. The process of educating workforce is a type of investment, but instead of capital investment in such equipments, the investment is in human capital. So with this, our first 3 factors were done. Now, let's move on to remaining factors. So the fourth factor that we are going to discuss is technological progress. So what does technological progress implies? Technological progress implies the application of improved technology in production activity. One usual idea about technology is that it is some sort of machine, a way of making things, and that is also correct in some way. But recent approaches to technology emphasize that to use these technology, even human skills are necessary. Now let's discuss the form of technological progress. There are 3 forms. First is natural technological progress, labor-saving technological progress, and capital-saving technological progress. Now let's discuss them in detail. So first form is natural technological progress. It occurs when higher output level are achieved with the same quantity and combination of factor inputs. Simple innovation like those that arise from the division of labor can result in higher total output level and greater consumption for all individuals. Second form is labor-saving technological progress. It implies higher level of output with the same quantity of labor input. Electronic computers, automatic looms, High-speed electric drills and many other modern machinery and equipments can be classified as labor-saving technological progress. Third and the last form is capital-saving technological progress. It occurs when higher output levels are achieved with same quantity of labor inputs. Such progress result in more efficient labor-intensive method of production. For example, food-operated pumps. How does it affect the economical development? See, for technological progress to take place, following three conditions are necessary. It requires large capital investment in research as well as industry. It needs entrepreneurs who have the ability to understand the possibility of using scientific inventions for commercial purpose. And third is there must be expanding markets for the product. All these conditions are fulfilled in developed economy only, and hence the rate of technological progress is very fast in these countries. Whereas in underdeveloped and developing countries, these conditions are not obtained and hence technological progress is retarded. To overcome this, these countries are importing technologies from abroad. So with this, we have covered the fourth factor also, in which we discussed about the implication of technological progress, the form of technological progress, and how does it affect the economic development. Now let's move on to fifth factor. Fifth factor affecting the economic development is infrastructure. So we have even discussed the meaning of infrastructure in my first video of first chapter. I will link that also in I button. But for now let's revise it. Infrastructure covers those supporting services that help the growth of directly productive activities like agriculture and industry. Now, infrastructure is more conveniently divided in two parts, that is, social infrastructure, and the second part is physical infrastructure. Social infrastructure is concerned with the supply of such services so as to meet the basic needs of society like health services, drinking water, sanitization, electricity, etc. Whereas, on the other hand, physical infrastructure is directly concerned with the need of such production sector such as agriculture, industry, trade, etc. Services included under this are service as power, irrigation, transport, telecommunication, etc. Now comes how does it affect the economic growth? Output of infrastructure sectors such as power, water, transport, etc. are used as inputs for production in the directly productive sectors. Therefore, insufficient availability of the former may result in suboptimal utilization of asset in the latter. Infrastructure development such as transport improve productivity significantly. So there will be different effects of infrastructure in different type of economy. Like in low income countries, basic infrastructure such as water, irrigation are most important. In middle income economies, demand for transport grows fast, and in high income economies, power and telecommunication occupy more importance. Due to such linkage between infrastructure and rest of the economy, efficiency, competitiveness and growth of the economy hinge upon the state of development of the infrastructure sector. So with this, we have completed the fifth factor of economic development, that is infrastructure. Now let's move on to last factor under economic factors. Last factor affecting economic development is population and human resources. We can look upon the human resources in two roles. First is as factor services and the second is as unit of consumption. Let's understand the first role, human resources as factor services. Human resources as factor services provide labor and entrepreneurship. More people mean more resources. Some of the important points to be considered from the point of view are as follows. Minimum scales. Some infrastructure is only profitable with minimum density level. Example, roads, dams, ports and irrigation system. Second is demographic transition and savings. See, developing countries have population with a high proportion of young dependents. When the child dependency ratio is high, the population consists of a relatively large number of consumers and relatively few workers. Hence, consumption will be high relative to earning and saving activity will be low. During the demographic transition, the number of workers rises relative to consumers, income rises relative to consumption, and saving increase. Next is capital formation in agriculture. In agriculture, the saver, investor, and producer of the capital are often same unit, the family farm, with higher population growth. The farmer and his family will put more hours on this type of capital formation, increasing the agricultural capital stock. Fourth is labor force participation. Higher dependency ratio go along with the rising rate of population growth. This may affect labor force participation in terms of hours worked, entry and retirement age, and women's employment outside house. Last is technological change. The pace of technological change may pick up if there is larger talent pool from which to draw people for work on various frontiers of science. Now let's move on to second role, that is human resource as unit of consumption. Under this, human being make and demand on the national product of the economy. In this, capacity their number matters. If the size of population is more than what can be absorbed by the national product is, if there is overpopulation, it leads to number of problems. So some of them are: a rising population makes demands of food stock of a country. A rising population also implies that the large part of the nation output is used up in meeting the current consumption requirement. A large population also adversely affect the balance of trade of underdeveloped country. A direct consequence of overpopulation is the problem of unemployment with all the attendant evil effects, both economic and social. The social overload capital requirement of a country in the form of education, health, etc. keep increasing with addition to population. Now, how does it affect the economy? The increasing integration of underdeveloped or developing countries into global system brings them important benefits but also requires stricter discipline in economic management, since it leaves them less room for policy errors. So with this, we have even completed with the last factor affecting economic development. So this is it, guys. Today we have covered all the factors of economic development. Now in my next video we will be discussing non-economic factors, and with that our chapter will be wrapped up. Until next video, keep revising these concepts and ask your doubts through comment section. I will definitely take them. Please like and subscribe our channel. Share this video with your friends. Bye bye, take care, and thanks for watching.